YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we've got your Week 9 start and sit video for the running back position. Again, if you guys are new to the channel, this is always about full PPR or half PPR. If it is a standard league, hit us up in the comments down below. We'll be able to help answer any of those type of questions you guys might have for your running back. Now, there are 4 teams on a bye. You've got the Lions, 49ers, Jaguars, and Broncos. So you've got some pretty good running backs. Gibbs, right? Christian McCaffrey, Javonte, Travis Etienne. Like, there are some really good running backs not playing this week. And of course, there's injuries as well. So this is going to be a really tough week. I've got hopefully some players that you should be playing, give you some reasons why, maybe some players you may want to consider sitting. Again, make sure you guys are subscribed, like the video, and we'll chop right into this. So we've got obvious. These are obvious, like simple, right? Jacobs, Eckler, Barkley, Kamara, Taylor. Like, these are your obvious starts at running back. No questions asked. I know sometimes even matchups may stink a little bit for these guys, but I really like these guys as your obvious clear-cut RB1s. Now, the first running back I'm going to mention as a good start is going to be Zach Moss versus the Panthers. Moss at this point really should be a solid flex play, maybe RB2 at every single week. Like, even with just Jonathan Taylor being back, Moss has still done pretty well. The last 3 weeks, he's been RB7, RB30, and then RB15. So not bad, right? He's averaging about 13 points a game in those 3 games. And I'm not going to count that really big game with Jonathan Taylor because that was more of a Moss game, not a Jonathan Taylor game. So I'm not even counting for that. This is more when Jonathan Taylor has really established himself in the offense again. So really, the Moss has been a really solid flex. Like, he's definitely a solid flex, maybe RB2. And this week, just because the Panthers are not a great run defense, they're allowing about 20.3 points a game and a little over 126 yards on the ground. So matchup-wise, great matchup for Jonathan Taylor. I still think a really good matchup for Zach Moss. I think he should be in your flex or RB2 spot. Another running back I like this week is going to be Rachaad White versus the Texans. Rachaad White had one of his better fantasy standouts this past week. He had over 17 points in fantasy, which was great. His value has always been in the receiving aspect. The Bucs just don't run the ball enough. They're playing against the Texans, who really, they're about average, right? They're averaging 90 yards a game to the running back, about 14.5 points a game in fantasy. And that's, of course, full PPR. So there's some mid-range avenues. So, like, I think RB2 wise, Rachaad White is that solid RB2 with the potential of an RB1 role if he gets a touchdown. That's going to be the biggest thing, right? If he can get a touchdown, he's getting you that RB1 role stat. Right now, I think he's a really good solid RB2 just because he's going to get you about 3 to 5 receptions, maybe 50, 60 yards on the ground, get you about 20 to 30 on the, again, 15-point range. Like, that's where Rachaad White, and I think this is a really good matchup. Gus Edwards is my other running back I think you should consider playing. Gus Bus is not stopping. He is full go. He is a touchdown machine. He is their red zone threat, and he is the Ravens' clear RB1. I know Justice Hill gets sprinkled in. Obviously, you got Lamar's legs, who's always been a value, of course, in fantasy and on this offense. But Gus Edwards has been fantastic, and he's playing against a Seahawks team that is just perfect scenario for him. They're allowing an average of a touchdown per game. They're allowing just under 14 points as well to the running back. They're not allowing a lot of yards. Really, it's the touchdown aspect which has helped him. And if this Ravens team can get down the field, get those red zone opportunities, Gus has really almost been 100%. Like, he's been amazing in the red zone. So I expect at least 1 touchdown out of him, possibly 2, depending on how well this Ravens offense looks. But I really love Gus Edwards as a solid RB1 for you. Now, the first running back I'm going to sit this week is going to be Tony Pollard versus the Eagles. As a Cowboy fan, it hurts to say it, but Pollard has not been great in fantasy. I think he's been very valuable for the Dallas Cowboys, but as far as fantasy aspect goes, he has not been great the last couple weeks. Now playing a very, very tough Philly defense that has been fantastic against the run. They're only allowing 55 yards on the ground and only 11.1 points to running backs. So the matchup's really tough. I think this is going to be a game between Philly and the Cowboys, really focused on Dak and Hurts. Like, I think that's going to be it. And then whoever team creates that turnover. I think that's the kind of game this is going to be. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a game that one player creates a turnover, and that's going to be the difference maker. With that said, DeAndre Swift, I don't feel a lot of confidence in as well. Going against the Cowboys with this Cowboys defense that's done a great job only allowing 70 yards to the running back. about 4 receptions, which might save Swift this week, but they're doing a really good job against running backs. Swift's value has gone down. He has not been the star that I was hoping, or a lot of people were hoping, when he's, did amazing week 2, week 3, but he hasn't had a 100-yard game since week 3. Like, it has not been great for him. So this is another tough matchup. I think you're going to play him in the flex, just like I think you're probably going to still play Pollard, and I get it. But if you have any other depth, or if you're really running back heavy, you may consider sitting these guys this week. Now, the last running back I think you should consider sitting is going to be Najee Harris versus the Titans. You may have already dropped him. He may be on your waivers at this point. I get it. But this is a tough matchup for him on the Thursday night game. Titans actually do a really good job against running backs. They're only allowing 83 yards a game, only allowing 13 points a game. And realistically, Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren are almost 50-50 at this point when it comes to touches. Warren typically tends to be on the receiving side more often, which is where his value has been. But both of these players I wouldn't play. I put Najee first because he is still the clear-cut RB1. But Jaylen Warren, I don't feel comfortable playing this week either. This is going to be a really tough matchup for this Thursday night. So again, Warren and Najee, you're going to sit this week. Now, my sleeper of the week, if you want to consider it a sleeper, is Derrick Henry versus the Steelers. Now, again, in this Thursday night game, I think with Will Levis coming in, I don't think Will Levis is going to do the 4-touchdown performance, but I do think he's going to have some solid success, and that does worry the Steelers a little bit. Now, Steelers are already bad against the run. They're allowing 17.5 points to running backs. They're allowing 115 yards on the ground. This is a perfect Derrick Henry game. I believe the Titans are going to use Derrick Henry often and really as much as they can to allow Will Levis to be comfortable using the run play action just to get him comfortable, getting those passes down the field to Hopkins, to Chigo, to Spears, to Henry. So again, the run game, I think it's going to how this offense is going to play through him. I think Spears has some flex value possibly. But I really like this week for Derrick Henry. So those are my start sits and sleepers for the week 9. If you guys have questions for your lineup, hit me up in the comments. If you have trade questions or any other comments, please hit me up down below. Make sure you guys following us on X and on Instagram. Again, great stuff there. I've got some really cool news that I'll be talking about later this week. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you guys have those notification bells on. Hit the like button. I'll check you guys out next time.